Okay, guys, I must say Happy New Year first, and I hope you guys had a lovely Christmas and New Year break. And I really hope you've been improving your knowledge when it comes to web design. But today, I want to take design further from where I stopped for the last tutorial, and I must apologize to you guys because I've been having a serious downtime trying to upload the tutorials into YouTube. It keeps breaking each time I try to upload the tutorials, but I'll try my best to do this before the end of January. I'll try to upload the tutorials before the end of January, so you get the tutorials for this actual complete web design. I think I've uploaded some, but it's not yet complete. And this morning I just want to convert this design into an actual HTML. So I'm converting this mockup to an HTML. And the HTML, the reason I'm converting it to an HTML is that we actually run a PHP class. I may end up doing a video tutorial on PHP on how to make this design an actual dynamic page, which gets updated from the database and stuff like that. But for now, this morning, we're just going to focus on this page, and I'm going to focus on converting it to HTML. But funny enough, we're not just converting it to any HTML, we are converting it to html5. Yeah. If you've been current with the web design trend, you know that previously we had HTML4, we had XML 1.0, which were the two basic standards used for coding your sites, and a more improved version which became more solid by the end of 2011 was HTML5, and it's more of a modular structure, modular rule. Why am I saying modular? Because it's been updated from time to time, but there are some few stable areas in HTML5 that we could make use of in our design, and it has been adopted by many browsers. Even IE9, Internet Explorer 9 has also adopted some of the following rules for HTML5. So this is the actual design, and as part of this design, if I take this out, you can see the actual design, and on top of this you can see different HTML tags and structure we're going to use for this page. But before that, I'd like to take you to my NetBeam. I have NetBeam open. You could use any code editor you want. You could use Dreamweaver, Notepad++, whatever choice you want to make. So I just want to talk about some few things about HTML5 before we move on. Okay, HTML5 really made the markup of a site really very simple. Some things were taken out of the markup, which made it very simple and less tedious to remember and code. And one of the first thing, you know, I have an HTML5 markup here, and you could see that the doc type is actually simple in opposition to this. So if I want to convert this to an HTML5 markup, I have to take away from the public down, and I'll delete. The reason we're doing this is that in the HTML5 we don't need a public reference to the doc type now for the browser to know what doc type to use, and basically makes it simple. So you don't need that reference to the doc type because every browser knows that it's HTML, and it's HTML that's going to process. And in the HTML tag we don't need this because this is consistent only with HTML, so we're going to take that one out too, so I'll delete that. And for the meta tag, the HTTP content text / HTML, these are things that are no longer needed in the HTML5, so it's also going to be deleted in the HTML5 standards. And you put your, well, the char set highly needed because char set tells, or the char set tells what particular language or how the encoding of your page is going to be processed. If it's going to be Japanese encoding will be different, Chinese will be different, Yoruba self will be different depending on the shell set of the site. So if the language of the site is going to be like Yoruba and it's going to have like special characters, shell set helps the browser process those special characters. But a more generalized shell set is the UTF-8. So now you can see we have a basic. This is quite a simple doc type for or HTML basic structure for HTML5, and this is how it looks like. And I think you guys should really put that into your head, so I'm just going to rename this to I'll give the title Cognate Team Report Post Page. I'm going to make that capital later. Since this is going to be on the title bar of our browser, I'm just going to make the first words capital later. So when someone is looking through our title bar, it becomes very, very legible to read. I'll save that, and in my NetBeam, I'm just going to change. I'll rename this to .html, not XML. I'll rename that to .html. And it's still showing me .xml. That's weird. Whoa. Okay. I'll rename. Okay, we'll do that later. Oh, pardon me. We'll do that later by the end of the course, or by the end of this section of the tutorial. Okay, let's go back to our design, and I will just walk you through some of the essence of HTML5. Okay, I'm going to take this design from the styling to the finish, and as I walk through the design, we're going to be coding so many things, and I pray you bear with me. I'm going to be making some mistakes. You're going to be learning from the mistakes because I'm doing this off my head. I have a written script because I don't like teaching like that. Because if you teach like that, people think you just have to get everything perfect. No, you have to break a few things, make a few mistakes. You have to make a few mistakes, and so they can actually learn from your mistakes and know what not to do. Okay, the first thing I want to talk about in our HTML5 structure was our header. In this design, in HTML5, the header actually represents any content that carries introductory data or introductory information. Like you could see in the header, we have our Cognate team report, which Cognate actually represents the site and the company that owns the site. So that's an introductory information. Okay, we could also decide to make this H2 here. You could see this H2 where we have let me turn that down. Let me turn the structure off. Okay, we could also decide to make this one here, the Cognate team update. We could decide to make it our header also, and the header could be used on any part of the page, so long as the information it's carrying is an introductory information to the sub-content in that particular section. So just put that structure back. So we'll use our header, and inside our header we have our Cognate team reports, and inside Cognate team reports we're using an H1 and an H2 tag. And remember, the fact we're using an H1 and an H2 tag, we have it wrapped around a new HTML5 tag called the H group, and the H group enables you to group an H1 and an H2 tag together, or maybe two heading tags together, and actually making it one in the hierarchy level of H1, H2 tags. Okay, I'm trying to see how best to explain this in the way you understand it. So okay, let me just see if I could find a more simpler analogy. Okay, let's say when you group the H1 and the H2, or let's say you group an H3 and an H4, or Okay, let's pause. You group an h5 and an h4 together inside an h group. The actual tag that comes out from that h group now as the parent tag, or the hierarchical level, or the what will I say, dominant level in our HTML5, it's the h4. It does not see the h5 inside the h group, so that makes it like it's like a subgroup within a group. I think that's the best way I can explain it. Okay, the nav element. After that, we're going to go to nav element, and you can see here we have our nav element, and I know the idea here. You see nav element nav. You may be thinking, whoa, everything that has a nav, I'm going to put the nav element around it. No. In HTML5, the nav elements represent tags, represent elements that are key navigation to the sites. So any element that are not key navigation to our sites should not be carrying the nav element. Are you understanding me? So you see the key navigation side, we have our home, contact, news, FAQ, blog, team reports. Those are key navigation to our sites, so they're carrying the key. So they are carrying important navigation to the site. So that's why we have a nav element around them. So we have our list, or that list, and we have our link, which are something you should be conversant with from previous designs or previous site designs you've done. And this is a way to create navigation. Okay, the next step, come down here to the main content of site. We have our section, and section, it's used to sectionize your page. Okay, section is used to create a new section in your page, just the way div used to function. You understand? Now the importance of the div has been taken away to more like div is just like div functions more like in the HTML5 functions more like the span tag, where it has virtually no semantic meaning. So you use div when you want to style or when you want to apply JavaScript, but to create a real section where you have content that has meaning, you should be using the section tag. So we're using the section tag to create a section for our site, and the introduction to that section is Cosmic Team Report, which is presented by H2. So the section is presenting a meaningful content of our site. That's telling us that, okay, these are the recent posts that have been posted to the site. Okay, inside our section we have our article tag, and the article tag, let me just take this, the article tag represents from here to here, so it represents a section also. So I know that's confusing, but okay, a section, the idea of a section is more like a part, a small chunk cut out from the main chunk. So the article tag represents a small chunk cut out from the main chunk that retains its meaning when taken out or when taken to another page. Okay, let's say if I take this now and go and paste it on www.bone.com, it's still going to make sense because we have the title and we have some information about the post. So an article represents a section that has meaning beyond the content. That means if I take it from my site, paste it on another site, or take it somewhere else, extract from the site, let it stand alone, it still has meaning. But in opposition to the section has no meaning. The section is used for sections of your site where, you know, if you take it away from your site, it has no meaning, as it loses its meaning. Understand? So articles are mostly used for section, you know, that you can repurpose or you can take to other part of someone else's site. Yeah, so they are used for sections of your site that, you know, you want to repurpose or take to other people's sites. Inside our article we have, I'm going to select that. Inside our article we have our H1 and our P and our link, which has some things we are conversant with. So we have a new tag also. We have another new tag which is called the date tag. and date tag is used to represent date and time. I'll show you how to use that. So when we look at this, we see the aside. Haha, crazy. So the aside spans from the top to the bottom of our post, of our main content. I'm just joking, don't mind me. Of our main content. So I know the idea you may be thinking aside. When you just see aside, just like navigation bar. No. The aside is actually used for sections of our site that are tangential to the parent content. Okay, let's say for instance, the information they contain are not totally related to, are not really part of the main information on that page, but they are related to the information of that page. I think that's the best way to explain the aside. So let's say now we have Secondary team reports and we have latest posts, and then we see events, seminar, web design, and stuff like that. The information are related to the teams, as in the teams and the teams reports, but they are not key to the teams report. So if I were to remove the aside, I will not have affected the main information on the page. So that wraps the idea of the aside. Inside our aside, we see our, okay, the aside is also sectioning content. The aside, the article, and the section tags are all sectioning contents. And inside here we also have our article. Like I explained before, if I had to take this date, seminar, and paste them in another site, it will still retain its meaning. That's why I'm using the article tag. And inside it I have my article, which also says if I take the web design and March and the date, paste it somewhere else, it also has its meaning. So that's why I'm using article inside here. And this, okay, I'll come down here. We'll see, funny enough, we played with the section tag. Why? This is something we don't want to repurpose, because if we take this on another site, it's just pictures and they will not get what it means. So I'm using the section tag here and there. Okay, that's it. Okay, another thing we could do, let me Ctrl D, go down, we'll see this whole section is wrapped in the footer tag. Why is it wrapped in the footer tag? Okay, the footer tag, aside from being the footer of the site, it also contains, its note contains detailed information about a particular product. Let's say we have a picture, or maybe we have a post, the person that posted, the person that made the post posted by, and stuff like that, as well as the information that may be contained in a footer. Okay, let's say I think the best way to know the footer, remember, you've seen a magazine before where a picture has been snapped. At the bottom of the picture you see some information about where the picture was snapped, where who snaps the picture and stuff like that. Those are information that can be enclosed in the footer tag, and they should be enclosed in the footer tag. Okay, that's just a walkthrough to the structure. Now we're going to dive into our code and start wrapping things up. Okay, I'm going to go to NetBeans. So I'm going to be switching between my design and the actual HTML markup. So in our body now, the first thing I want to do is create the different tags and put them in their respective place. Okay, from the site like this, okay, you see this ant-like thing marching around. I'm using to make selection so you know what I'm talking about. Okay, this total section of the site is going to be wrapped in a div. Like I told you, use a div not for sectioning purpose in html5, but for places where you want to create a container for either applying CSS and stuff like that. Okay, why are we doing this? We're going to use a div because we want to limit the site to 960 or 50 pixels. So every content we're going to create in our HTML is going to be within our div tag. So I'm going to come here and I'll open my div with the ID, and I'll say wrap. Most of the time it's a good thing to start including your comments. So I'll say start ID of wrap. Some people think putting comments in your HTML is like tedious and stuff like that. Believe me, if you do, if you are a web developer, aside from being a web designer, you know that it is highly needed. Because just imagine having a lot of PHP codes and HTML all mixed up. Sometimes difficult. Excuse me, I think I'm having an error here. Let me see. End of the file. Comment at line 10. No. There's something wrong, but I'll get back to that later. Okay. So we're going to look back to our design. So the first one we'll create is our header. We may decide to put introductory information, navigation may be on its own. So I'll Control D, and with my mark it 2, I'm going to show you the section that we'll be considering as our header. Another thing is why we did this, why we created a div first, why we created a div wrap first, is the div wrap is going to limit the span of the content. But this design, you see this, the design for the nav bar and the body, it's going to be embedded into the body tag of our HTML. So the style of design is going to be applied to the body tag itself, not the div. So we're going to have that design tiling around our site. They'll position everything on the site using CSS. Okay. Next we're going to talk about header. Our header spans from here to here. In opposition to, I may decide to also include the nav tag in our header. It's a thing of choice, but the section I'm showing where the header spans retains the full meaning of being an header. Or we decide to make everything an header. Or we just decide to just make from here to here our header. Okay, let's use that. Let's make that our header. So we're going to say I'm going to come down, tab. Since we have only one header in this page, we are not going to bother giving it an ID, and you can see that now NetBeam actually recognizes the tag because my NetBeam is kind of updated. And inside our header we have, before everything else, we have an H1 and H2 group. So we're going to say H group, and NetBeam also recognizes that. Say H1. So you may be wondering the logo, what we're going to do about the logo. I'm going to add a logo with I'm going to use CSS to embed the logo into the design, and it should be something that's very simple for you to do, or something that you are very familiar with. Okay, I'm going to say cognate team reports. Come here, bring back my design. Oh, that was just cognate. Each one was cognate, and here was what? Team report. Okay. Now we're walking through our structure, and you can see now we've done the H1, the H2 group. Now we have to go for the nav element, and like I said before, nav is used for key navigation on site. So I'll just tap down. And I'll enter my nav, and I'm not going to give this an ID because I'm going to affect this with CSS since we have only one on the page. Just our design, I think we're going to have only one on the page. Okay, let's see. Let me take you to the gallery page and let's look at that. If there's anywhere we're going to be needing a nav. No, I don't think so. So we're just going to have only one on the page. So control that with CSS, so we're going to give that an ID or a class. Take that down, enter my list, take that down, take that down, enter my li, press enter, enter my link tag, press enter, it comes out href equals to £, and we're just going to give we're just going to enter each of the link. We're going to say that was 1. I think we have about 5. I'll copy 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have 5 now created. So trying to make use of the copy and paste. So I'll say contact news FAQ, this contact, this news FAQ, and blog, and one last one for the team. Copy, and the team. So we'll save. Now walking through the actual structure for walking through the actual structure. Oh, pardon me. Walking through the actual structure for our html5 for this design, and next thing we need to focus on is this section of the site, and I'm going to walk through that. Okay. This guy is going to come. The section is going to come before the site, and it's going to be floated to the left. Then with the specified width and height, the side will just fall through to fit in. It's pretty easy to do, so something that you're going to see me do in a jiffy. So I hope you follow through and let it stick in your mind. Okay, let's see, choose an error, element nav not allowed as a child of the age group element. Are you serious? Whoa, pardon me, I'll cut this out. Ctrl X. I think I made a mistake there. The age group was only supposed to surround this. Oops. That's why you have to be very careful and use a text editor that's capable of showing you errors as you go through. So one of the key things people normally do with your design is old school style, be arrow break, and give your break a class of clear, which we will handle in CSS. Oops. Okay, save that. Okay, while we're doing this, we by the time we're doing our CSS, we want to get this navigation, we get this to place, we want to push this, we want to push everything down to a new line. So we don't want our elements floating around our navigation and stuff like that. Now you get the idea. Okay, now we're going to open the section tag for our page, and that's going to be after the head. But I don't think we need the break. I think we're just going to apply that style of clear, class of clear, to our header tag. We'll get to our CSS. So let me just leave some of the things out. So we'll get to our CSS. We'll start to work hand in hand. I'll be showing you why and how I'm applying different things to my code. So we have to open our section tag first. If we go back to design, you see the section containing everything we need. So the text for our section is going to be our h2 tag, and h2 tag, and that should be ccognate team update. Ccognate team updates. I'm going to take that down. And we've done that. Next thing we're going to do is, I'll take this member key to, I'll control select, and I'll come here, and this is the focus for our article tag. And you see the idea about the article tag, it's quite repetitive. It's quite repetitive, and you can see I made mention of the fact that we use the div when we're trying to talk about sections that we just want to apply CSS to, that we're applying our style to. Understand? So in the HTML structure, I talked about the key elements. I didn't talk about the sub elements. Like here, you see we need a picture, which is an img, an image tag for that picture also. So as we're working through this design, I'm going to be adding sub elements. So we're going to focus on the article tag, and we're just going to copy, paste. Since the idea we have there, it's repetitive. So I'll control D to deselect. I'll go back to my code, and I'll add my article tag. And NetBeam is so lovely to help me out. So the first thing we're going to do is, let's work with our design and think also in the line of CSS as we're creating this. If you look at this, we have this white background all through, semi-white background, almost white background all through, and you can see we have like a tint of purple around our design. Let me control zoom on that. You can see this tint of purple. So but everything is actually wrapped in the article tag. So this tag, we could also decide to give the white section a div, because we are just applying it for CSS what reasons. So we just want to apply the color to our article for CSS reasons. Okay. Okay. And here we also have an image tag. So first thing we're going to do, we're going to go in there and we're going to say div. Come down, div. So first of all, I want to give this article a class, because we want that one style applied to it, apply to the rest of the article. So we're going to give the class of recent post. And I'm just going to take down the div, and inside the div we're going to have first of all we're going to have an image tag, CRC equals to something I'm going to add very soon. Okay, what I'm going to do now, I'm going to go back to my design. I'm going to hide out my HTML structure. I'm going to take my marquee to Control plus to zoom. If you want to zoom, I'll hold down my space bar, use my mouse to move everything around. I just want to collect this picture of that nice guy there. And if you wonder what I look like, that's what I look like some months back. I think I've lost a lot of weight. So we're just going to look for the actual comment box. I call it comment box. Okay, I'm going to look for the actual, okay, that's it, the actual group for that particular picture. I'm going to open everything up. Oh, what's happening? Guys, I really don't know what's happening here. This is strange. That's weird. Okay. That's really weird. I'm trying to open the layers, but they are not actually, the groups are not actually opening up. Okay guys, I don't want to stress myself over that. I'm just going to take this marquee tool. I'm just going to select the picture, drag from edge to edge, make sure I get the four corner of the picture. And I'm going to Control Shift C, or you could come here, edit, copy, merge. Same thing, Control Shift C, Control N to create a new document. Just click, make sure that the preset is set to clipboard, click OK, Control V. There we have a nice looking picture. I'll say save for web. And I'll change this to JPEG, and 65 is okay, so it still retains most of its quality. I'll take that up, and I think I'm going to hide this guy. Not to hide. Okay, back to my selection. I'm going to save this, and we're just going to browse the folder for the design, and I think that's in my document, and I have it in my training folder. Okay, training, where are you? And oh, that's on my desktop, sorry. And okay, so I'm just going to rename this to what am I going to call this? Create a new folder for it. I'll call it images. Images. No, pause. I think I'm having a problem locating the files. Where did I actually save that thing to? Okay, it's in our localhost. I know we actually created this page for the PHP class, so it's going to be in our localhost. And I'm going to take you there right now. I was almost having a problem with that. And that's it. WAMP. For those of you who don't know what a localhost is, you could just store your files anywhere on your computer. I'm not going to go into that in this class because I just want to get down with the HTML, so we could move on. And I'll call this images. Create and down. Let me delete. I'll delete this. I want to create and down inside. Call this members. So inside the members, I'm going to save Charles 001. Take that out. I'll save that. I think that's okay. So we're just going to come here and make reference to that file, and I'll say images / members /001.jpg. And so it's a cognate team member. Let's say cognate MD. Yeah, I'm feeling myself a little bit. Okay, since we're done with this, we're gonna close this out. For most of the time, you want to save this. You want to save this PSD as a separate file because you may be making reference to it when you need to create multiple pictures for your site. So I'll say no, because I don't want to save that now, since this is just a training. I'll Ctrl D, come back. So next thing we need to create, we're going to turn on our HTML. So we need an H1, H2, we need an H2, yeah, we need a date, we need a P, and that's all. So we're going to come back to our design. After that, we're going to enter our H2. Whew. And what was the title used there? See, Charles in Asaba. Charles in Asaba. Next I'm gonna enter is the date tag. I say date, please. I say date. And the date you're gonna enter is let's make any date. I wish I was a day like that. Okay, after the date, what next? We have our P paragraph. The reason we entered this like this because we want to be able to float, but the date does not really matter because we can do that with an absolute in CSS and just position that where it's supposed to be. And you have a P. You have a P paragraph. P paragraph. Okay. And you know, last time one of our trainings, I said you guys could easily search the web for Turkey, a text generating software generates dummy text. So if I just click generate different dummy text I could use for my design, I'm just going to select some of it, copy, and paste it into every paragraph. And now I'm going to hit enter, hit enter, hit enter, hit enter, hit enter again, and bring that down, bring that down. Okay, save. I just want to get that looking nice and cool. This is red line here. I just use to delimit the extent to which I want my code spanning in my script, in my HTML, wherever they may be. I think it's going to tell me that date is not allowed, date element not allowed as a child element in div, blah 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 blah. Okay, the next thing I want to talk about is we're going to talk about the link. So I'm just going to insert an anchor tag here after everything, and I'm going to call this more. That means read more. I'll put the read more. And for my href, that, close that. Yep, save that. And I think we should preview this in our browser. So I'm just gonna click the spell sign here, and then the name is gonna help me out with the preview in my browser. I don't think my server is turned on. I think I have to turn that off first. Hold on. Anyway, I'm not going to put off my tutorial, so just see what I'm about to do. Some of you may be having a problem with your servers on your system, especially if you're running Windows Server and you're running WAMP and you're using the same port, which is the 8080. You're going to be encountering problems if you want to run your WAMP. So you need to turn on one first. You need to turn on one server. So I'm going to turn on my IIS, which is your internet, your information service, Internet Information Services, IIS. So I'm going to close this out. So I've turned off my IIS. Now I can launch my WAMP. So I'll close this, and you can see WAMP here. It's actually loading. Once it tells the screen, it's actually working now. So don't check. So here we have post.xhtml, and that's crazy. I could actually see this. Hey, you see what I'm talking about? It's actually viewed my file like an XHTML page. Yeah, that's like crazy. So I'm gonna save this first. I'll close this. Then I'll browse to my folder on my WAMP. The easiest way to do that, I'll go to my WAMP, click on directory. So I'm just gonna go in there and rename it to .html. Take that X. I'm just gonna say, do you want to change? I'll say yes. I'll delete this guy since it's no longer needed. I'll close this out, double click, and go back to my browser. Wow, what's that? This guy is playing with me. Okay, go back to my localhost, go back to my posts. Now you see we have a clean, nice HTML. Thank to God. So what we're going to do now, since we have that, we've coded one section of our article. All we're just going to do, we're just going to copy, paste. See? Ctrl C, Ctrl V, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So we have 5. So go save that, Ctrl X, go back to our. Oh guys, I know that you guys feel like crying. This has been a long coding class, but please bear with me. I really need to put this down and just get it out there so you can easily get up to pace with what we're working with right now. Okay, we have a P here and a paragraph after our article. So we have these to end our section. So just for the ending section, I'm just going to delete all this white space. I'll select small white space. So I'll give it a little space. Come here for my paragraph. Close my paragraph. And I'll just open my this. Ninja mode. Oh guys, please forgive me. I just woke up this morning, decided to do this class, and it's been fun though. And I'm so happy that you guys are learning. And I'm gonna do that. And I'm going to just copy this, paste it like 5 times. Copy, Ctrl 1, Ctrl V2, that's 3, 4. So I'm going to change this to 1, change this to 2, change this to, and we'll give one the ID equals selected, and I'm going to come here and I'm going to say, I'm going to give this a class of I'm going to give it ID equals pagination. I'm going to save that. I'm going to go back to a browser to see how it looks like. Refresh and scroll down. Let's see. We have 1, 2. Okay, we have this break up a little bit, so we have to fix that. I think that's breaking up our code. Let's look for where we make the mistake. Okay, got the first one. Selected 1 worked out well. Selected 2 worked out well. Okay, we have a problem there. Okay, and that should do it. So refresh. scroll down. I'll see want to get what we want. Okay, okay, that's what I want. So go back to our design. We've done everything relating to the section. Now we have to work with the aside. And for these classes, we have another one aside. I'm not going to be giving it an ID. So I'll come just after my section. Just taking away that white space. And I'll take this down just to maintain that line. Take this down. Take this down. Yeah, it looks nicer like that. So aside. So that creates my aside. So we're going to enter values for, we're going to start creating the content for the aside. The first one was event h3. So I'm going to go down, save, go back to our design. Guys, I'm going to pause this now. I'm going to come back for a water break. I need some